Good evening. I'd like to call this evening's Kings Local Schools Board of Education work session to order. Mr. Morrow, could you call the roll, please?
Ms. Phillips,
Here.
Ms. Groff, Ms. Cowan,
Here.
Mr. Skrull. Here. Mr. Belfrom.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. May I have a motion to approve this evening's agenda?
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Morrow?
Ms. Groff,
Yes.
Mr. Skrull,
Yes.
Ms. Cowan,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Belfrom.
Yes. And next on the agenda, it is reports and presentations. We don't have any for this evening, but Mr. Morrow is going to give us a preview for next week.
Yeah, we're looking forward to 3 presentations next week. Our RAISE students will be back. That's always a board and community favorite. We'll also have Columbia Intermediate to discuss the work that they're doing on strategic initiatives, and SHP will be here to give an update on the high school in Columbia. So we look forward to all of those.
Acronym heavy presentations next week. Thank you, Mr. Morrow. And next on the agenda actually are the discussion items for the treasurer. So Mr. Morrow will stay here with you, sir.
Thank you. Items 1 and 2 are just the normal meeting minutes from the month before. Item 3 is financial. You'll notice if you look at the monthly financials, that's kind of comparing the forecast to actual. You'll see that those are starting to get more updated as we get more information throughout the year. Kind of the biggest, I guess, highlight from the last month or so is we received our first property tax settlement from the county. The board will note that we receive over $46 million every year in property taxes, and we're on track to be within about 100,000 of our forecasted projection. So that's looking pretty good, and we had strong collections as usual. I will say that next month is forecast month. So I have a longer report as well as a presentation to go through that. But for this year, things are looking basically as expected. Number 4, wellness event. The wellness event's always a lot of fun. During a PD day in the fall, since I've started here, we've had all of our insurance vendors come and also do flu shots and what I like to call mini physicals. They're actually biometric screenings. They can alert staff members to a potential issue that they have, such as high blood pressure, pre-diabetes, that kind of thing. So it's always a lot of fun and really good time for employees to come and talk to insurance folks if they are having any questions. And it's also open enrollment where staff can change insurance coverages at the end of the month. So the timing works out really well for this. So Anthem gives us wellness money each year to use. In the prior couple years, I've worked with the insurance committee to incentivize staff to take part in the mini physicals. So you'll see a list of prizes that we are proposing to raffle off to staff members that do take advantage of that, with the goal being if a staff member has something going on like pre-diabetes or high blood pressure, if they go see a regular doctor and start doing either healthy initiatives or medicine that prevents long-term bigger problems. So it's one of those initiatives that the insurance committee feels strongly about. And then number 5 are the public records log. You can see as of right now, we're in pretty good shape.
Here's an issue with board docs.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really
Really slow.
very.
But we're caught up other than one. So, and good shape there.
Oh, there it pops up again. Can you tell me, how do you go about when someone asks about public records? Who takes care of doing that? Because if I'm right, all of your staff currently has duties that they have to do each and every day.
Correct. My staff are, I like to say grinders day to day to get stuff done. So I take care of primarily all of these with the help of anybody whose department it may or may not affect. I don't want them to worry about this. I want them to worry about their everyday job. So
Mhm.
yep.
So when you get one, what process do you have to go through to even start to know where to look and what you're going to end up with?
Well, I like the ones that are easy, where I know exactly where the document is and exactly what I'm going to provide. And if you look at the list, you can see we try to get those back in the next day or two. Some of the longer ones, we have to go through an attorney to give guidance on how we should respond and what we need to be looking for. And then you have some where we're combing through tens, hundreds of emails to try to find exactly what that person's looking for. So there's a whole array of processes, and it's just kind of trying to figure out the best way to go about it in the most efficient manner, but also make sure that we're getting the public what they request.
I know you said before that you have to redact records.
Yes.
What exactly does that mean, and what does that mean you have to do?
So redacting records, there's some information that we're not allowed to give, some personally identifiable information relating to staff, social security number, but really a lot of it's around kids. So somebody could request all records related to, we'll just use their student as an example. We would have to go through, and if there's any information relating to another student in any of those files, we would have to redact that out so nobody could tie any thing of substance in the email to those students.
So
So,
how do you go about doing that?
As I said, sometimes you have to go through hundreds of emails to make sure that you're not missing anything, and you're physically blacking out through PDF every one of those documents. So, but it kind of is what it is.
Okay.
It's the public's right to know, I think they say, and that's the big slogan. So it's fine. But as I said, there's a whole array of types of requests.
Thank you.
Mhm.
You have any other questions for Mr. Morrow? No? Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda, discussion items. Seeing none from Mr. Sears. I think that might be the first time all year. Like the superintendent doesn't have items. It's a good month. Next on the agenda, with discussion items for the assistant superintendent concerning HR and business. Mr. Spinner, Mr. Lucky.
Thank you, President Belfram, King's Board of Education. 3 items under our purview this evening. I'm going to hit 1 and 3 and then pass it over to our Director of Business Affairs, Mr. Matt Lucky. First up, personnel items. We lead off with staff resignations and retirements. I would like to point out 2 staff members who are on tonight's agenda and will be up for vote next week, who are resigning for retirement purposes. Congratulations to Ms. Tracy Krebs and Franny Murray. Both are on tonight's agenda as resignations for retirement purposes. Tracy Krebs was brought on board at J.F. Burns Elementary School in 1998, where she currently teaches 4th grade. Principal Cheryl Montag had this to say about Tracy. She goes above and beyond when educating her students. Mrs. Krebs gets to know everything about each child as she builds lasting relationships and creates an environment that allows for them to excel to their fullest potential. Franny Murray has been a Knight since 2002 when she started at King's Junior High School, before only recently moving to King's High School to teach French. I was fortunate enough to work with Franny when I was principal of King's Junior High School. She's a dedicated professional, committed to student and foreign language program success. Her passion for all of the above is obvious and it is contagious. Between the two of them, they have almost 50 years of teaching experience. Congratulations both to Tracy and Franny. They will be missed. We'd also like to point out new staff members, staff miscellaneous items, supplementals and stipends, where you'll find a number of winter coaching supplementals, and finally, temporary employment.
Any questions for Mr. Spinner?
Item number 3 has to deal with board policies, a first reading. This was related to information shared with the board at our last month's board meeting with regards to changing the date from kindergarten enrollment. Students will have to be 5 years old prior to August 1st, as opposed to our current enrollment date of September 30th in order to enroll in kindergarten. And tonight is a first reading. It will be up for a second reading and a vote next week.
Just a outside scope of the
Sure.
county or the area, how many other school districts?
6 of the other 7 school districts all begin August 1st. Or
So
have the
that
August
puts
1st
us
date.
a little bit more in line with,
Puts us in the majority. That is correct.
thank you.
Sure.
So you'll see the number 2, transportation in lieu of, it's 8 more students that will add to that in lieu of transportation list. Typically every year, once we do that first month, everyone gets the reminder. So you'll see some more of these trickle in. We'll just have them on the list.
Any questions for Mr. Lucky? Actually, Mr. Lucky, is there a cutoff for that in lieu of, or they? Okay,
We promote to have it in by the end of August, September, but we won't turn that away.
thank you. Any further questions for Mr. Spinner, Mr. Lucky? All right. Seeing none, we will move on to the next agenda item, which are the discussion items for the assistant superintendent regarding our educational programs. Mrs. Martin, Mr. Freeman.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to take care of the complete care contract. That's a transportation contract. You've seen this contract for about 6 or 7 years now. It's one of 4 of our transportation contracts we use with student services, special education, McKinney-Vento students, just different. Nothing really new on the contract from any past year. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. We'll vote on. That's going to take 2, 3, and 4.
All right, good evening, everybody. Don has a few slides that I created just kind of as a visual to help keep me on track for a few items that we just wanted to provide an update on from teaching and learning. So the first one is just an update on what's happening with workforce and career services. So you've heard us talk a lot about this area. Mrs. Snyder from the high school has been to board meetings and has talked about it as well. And we had some students even come in the spring and talk about their experience with internship. So this is just a little bit of an update kind of outside of that realm. Those folks will be coming back later to kind of share their updates happening. But we just had a task force meeting yesterday. So I thought this would be a great opportunity for us to share some of the things happening. So you'll remember that we do have kind of expanded services that we're providing at the high school this year. We have lead training that we've contracted with to help us with the creation of our business partnerships. That's led by Riley O'Grady. And then we also have Curtis Keller, who has worked in the past at the high school, primarily just around Career Quest and kind of leading that program. He was there for Career Quest about 1 day a week last year. This year, we've been able to expand his services. So he's at the high school 3 days a week now. And I have to tell you, yesterday we did an update meeting, and I am blown away at how much we're able to provide to students now in comparison to even just a year ago. So they've done some really great work and really trying to get the word out to expose students to more opportunities. So kind of in those 3 days that Curtis is with us, he's been doing a lot of work with Career Quest. He partners with Debbie Henderson and the school counseling office there. So in the past, students who have participated in Career Quest, which really is designed to be an opportunity for kids to dig a little bit deeper and have a kind of a special touch because they don't exactly know what they want to do when they leave high school. So these students who participated were first identified by the school counselors. What we're doing now is allowing students to self-identify that they want to have some conversations with career services to talk about what they want to do and participate in the program. So Curtis did a presentation to the seniors at their senior class meeting. And then he also went and spoke to the senior math classes and did a presentation of the kinds of things that they'll do. So the target is to begin in early November and target about 30 students. So I think they had like 10 or 12 as of yesterday that have already signed up and are ready to participate. So we'll keep you updated on how that goes. Kind of some other items there are on-site and off-site experiential learning opportunities. We've had an opportunity to expand these as well. So our employability classes started participating in some off-site experiences with some of our early business partners. So we've been able to expand that to other students to sign up who are interested. So just in the first couple months there in August and September, we've had 13 presentations, workshops, and lunch and learns. So students have had opportunities to get some exposure to some of our business partners and what happened. So VR career exploration took place. They did a lunch and learn. PNC Bank came and did some workshops with some of our financial literacy courses. eBeam has been a longtime partner with us, came and did a co-op presentation as well. And then we had some students that went to UC Hospital and visited the radiology department. AtriCure over on Innovation Way has hosted our students before, and we had a group go there, and we have more planned kind of throughout the rest of the semester and into the winter. So again, just really pleased with how things are progressing so far in this area. It is a goal for us to have all of our students participate while in high school in experiences like this. So when they leave us and prepare to leave us, that they have a clear kind of picture of what they'd like to do. So then just kind of by the numbers I added there, and this is just Curtis and kind of his conferences outside of the school counselors. So 26 different students he's met with in the first 2 months. And that's 53. He's had 53 unique one-on-one coaching opportunities with students. So students who have self-identified, been referred from the school counselors, and he's been able to meet with them. They've done, some career interest inventories and conversations to help connect them to different experiences. So I'm very pleased with that update. Love to bring them back maybe later this, maybe next month to kind of share with you a little bit more. We can make that happen. Yes.
So the students that Curtis is meeting with,
Yeah.
are those all seniors or primarily?
They're mostly seniors now, primarily seniors, but there are some underclassmen that he's been able to meet with too.
Okay, good.
Yeah, which is our goal. That was the great thing of having him on site more often, is to expand his reach beyond just seniors.
Okay, good.
Right. The next thing is just to give you an update on some work that we're doing with our ELA design team. So I think I mentioned to you guys last year, we started kind of a deep dive into our English language arts standards with all of our teachers. So we created this ELA design team with representation at every grade level, every building, to sit in this room and really hammer out some decisions with regard to our English language arts standards and make some decisions about how those play out in our classrooms. So we ended up creating our own vertical alignment document. And that really just gives like a grade level to grade level progression of how the standards kind of move forward. So that team did that work in the spring semester. So we knew when we started the school year this year in August during our first PD day that we needed to share that with the rest of the teachers of ELA. So this year, our preschool has joined our teams. We've created vertical teams to kind of share this work. And the ELA design team partnered with our professional development team actually to facilitate some sessions on October 18th, our upcoming PD day, and again in February to help kind of share what those decisions were so that we can all be kind of unified and aligned with how those look in our classrooms. So at the K-5 level, that will lead to a resource adoption. So this Thursday, we're having our first meeting with some vendors to share some kind of broad overviews of what their products look like. And we have some samples, and we'll be using the state's high quality instructional materials protocol to begin to vet those with a pilot of programs later in the school year. So our goal is the end of February, beginning of March to come back with you with a recommendation for a new K-5 ELA program and kind of go from there, start planning for implementation. Any questions on that? I'd like to give a lot of kudos to the teachers on this design team. This is a pretty big group. And we had some support from Hamilton County ESC with our instructional coaches last semester, but our instructional coaches over the summer and this school year have taken this over completely and are leading this effort. So they've done a really, really good job of trying to organize everything. And then just the last item is just an update on where we are with personalized learning. This is, of course, one of our strategic initiatives, and I just kind of pulled out our goal statement for personalized learning there, that we would have cohorts of teachers to learn and implement components of the Ohio Personalized Learning Framework and share the outcomes. And so those bullets there just kind of are demonstrating that we've started just that. So last year, when we began studying personalized learning, we created launch teams with representatives from every building to really start digging into what personalized learning is and what it can look like in our classrooms. And so this year, this cohort 1 is continuing to meet twice this year. They'll meet on October 14th and then again in February for district teams, but they're continuing this work in their buildings with their administration to kind of continue to practice so we can scale this. Then we have our own cohort that we're starting at the end of October, the 24th and 25th. We had so much interest actually in teachers wanting to jump in to learn more about personalized learning that we had to have 2 days. So it's a good problem to have. Hopefully we'll have subs to cover it. Looking good so far. But definitely, again, working to scale personalized learning and help bring more understanding to our staff so then they can bring better experiences to our students moving forward. And then also, lastly, we are doing a book study with our administration. So we are studying this book, Tapping the Power of Personalized Learning, a roadmap for school leaders. So we just started this and had our first conversation at Admin Council earlier this month. And it was really great. I think great conversation, great response from our principals in the first couple of chapters. And so appreciate their engagement, because if they are engaged and they are helping to expand this individually in their buildings, we'll be able to scale it much quicker.
Are the assistant principals invited in attending those also? That's good.
It was a great discussion. We broke up into 3 groups actually when we had our conversation, so that we used a protocol. I wanted everybody to be able to share and talk about kind of key points that resonated with them. So
It's refreshing to hear that the entire district is working together and knowing what each other is doing. So we're all moving forward in the same direction. So kudos to you.
Any further questions? Mrs. Martin, Mr. Freeman? Nope, seeing none. Thank you both. Uh, Move to items presented by the board. Do we have anything
I
to
have a
present?
couple. If
All right,
that's
Mrs.
okay.
Phillips, sure.
First off, the scholarship, the board scholarship, that we should start thinking about getting our checks to Mr. Morrow, so he can have that all in place.
Thank you for the reminder.
So
Yep.
reminder on that. And then just a reminder that we need to think about starting the evaluation cycle for the superintendent and treasurer, because we mentioned that maybe some type of a survey. We ran out of time, so we should start discussing that, which would be in regular meeting session time, not in executive session. That's it for my calendar that I told you I'd put it on there and they popped up.
Thank you, Mrs. Phillips. Did we have anything else to share this evening?
I just wanted to thank our community for this past weekend. It was a great homecoming weekend and it didn't hurt that the weather was absolutely beautiful. But I mean, just so fun to see the kids having so much fun, even like the tiny little ones all the way up to the high schoolers. So many teachers involved, so many community members and parents, and it was just a really lovely weekend. So thank you for everybody's participation.
Well said, Mrs. Crawford. Any further to present? All right, seeing none with that, may I have a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting?
I will make that motion.
I will second the motion. Mr. Morrow?
Ms. Cowan,
Yes.
Mr. Belfrom,
Yes.
Mr. Skrull,
Yes.
Ms. Groff,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips.
Yes.
Good night, everyone.